What happens when Hollywood royalty collides with real talk royalty? The result isn't polite smiles. It sparks, tension, and one of the most unforgettable clashes daytime TV has ever witnessed. The Jennifer Hudson Show, known for compassion and warmth, suddenly became the setting for a battle that no one saw coming. From the moment Meghan Markle entered the studio, the atmosphere shifted. The applause signs glowed as usual, but beneath the energy was a heaviness, like a storm cloud waiting to break. Producers buzzed around with headsets crackling, whispering final instructions. The audience leaned forward in their seats, unaware they weren't just about to see an interview. They were about to witness a spectacle. Jennifer Hudson emerged in a dazzling emerald dress that shimmered under the lights. Her smile lit up the stage, commanding the room with ease. "Welcome back, everybody," she beamed, her rich voice carrying across the studio. "Today, we have a very special guest, a philanthropist, a mother, a woman whose name sparks conversations around the world. Please welcome Meghan Markle." Applause filled the room, warm but restrained. Meghan stepped out, chin high, posture flawless, her faint smile more defensive than welcoming. Jennifer extended her arms warmly. "Meghan, welcome. Thank you for joining us." "Thank you, Jennifer," Meghan replied smoothly. Her voice was gentle, but her tone had a layer of control. "I'm happy to be here." The two women took their seats. Jennifer radiated charm. Meghan adjusted her blazer with practiced care. "So," Jennifer began, leaning forward slightly, "how has it been adjusting to life back in the U.S.? It must be a big change after London." Meghan's smile thinned, her brows lifted. A quick, sharp laugh slipped out. "Is that your way of saying I wasn't welcome there?" A ripple of uneasy laughter passed through the audience, half amused, half unsettled. Jennifer blinked, but her smile returned quickly. "No, not at all. I just meant moving between countries is a big cultural shift." Meghan crossed her legs, her tone cooling. "Life is a cultural shift no matter where you go. I don't define myself by geography. If people want to define me by whether I was welcomed, that says more about them than me." The tension thickened. Jennifer smoothed her dress, staying composed. "I hear you. But many viewers are curious about how that transition felt for you personally." "Personally?" Meghan echoed, tilting her head. "Personally, I've always adapted. I don't waste energy chasing approval. It's exhausting. Some of us just move forward." The audience shifted, exchanging glances. Jennifer nodded politely. "Speaking of personal life, people are always curious about you and Prince Harry. How's married life? How are you balancing family and everything else?" The room leaned forward, bracing for the answer. Meghan's eyes flicked to Jennifer. "Married life is wonderful," she said briskly. Then her voice hardened. "But it fascinates me how people obsess over rumors. Harry and I don't need to defend our marriage to tabloids or anyone. Honestly, Jennifer, I'm surprised you'd even ask. Hasn't that been chewed over enough?" The air cooled. Jennifer's smile faltered for just a second before she masked it with a soft laugh. "I didn't mean it as gossip. Our audience just loves to hear about family life. That's all." Meghan leaned back, posture stiff. "Then tell them we're fine. Perfectly fine. They don't need to pick apart headlines." A murmur swept through the audience, low, restless. Jennifer exhaled gently, smile still in place. "Fair enough," she said. She glanced at her cards. "Let's talk about your career. You've gone from acting to Duchess to building your foundation. Looking back, What do you miss most about acting? For the first time, Meghan's lips curled into something resembling a smile, but it was thin, edged. Miss? I don't miss a thing. Acting was a stepping stone. But when people ask me that, it feels like they're trying to drag me back to a time before my life really mattered. Acting was fine. But now, my work has impact. Jennifer blinked at the bluntness, but quickly recovered. I didn't mean to minimize what you're doing now. Fans just really loved your work. Fans love plenty of things, Meghan cut in curtly. That doesn't mean I have to relive them. That chapter is closed. The audience stirred, tension building. Jennifer pressed on, her patience tested but intact. All right, let's talk about your foundation. What kind of legacy do you hope to leave? Meghan's smile sharpened, her voice lofty. Legacy isn't about ribbon cuttings or smiling for cameras. It's about redefining what matters. And let's be honest, many people, many institutions, even nations, don't like me because I refuse to play by outdated rules. Jennifer started to respond, but Meghan's tone rose, firm and unyielding. And if some people can't handle that, that's their issue, not mine. The crowd shifted again. Whispers flickered across the rows. Jennifer's smile held, but her eyes grew sharper. With a small laugh, edged with steel, she said, You certainly don't hold back, do you? Meghan smirked, chin lifted. Why should I? The camera swept across the hushed crowd, their faces a mix of shock and fascination. Somewhere in the control room, a producer mouthed, This is about to get messy. And they were right. The clash was only beginning. The applause sign flickered as cameras returned from the break. But the mood in the studio was different now. The air felt heavy, charged with anticipation. Jennifer Hudson's smile reappeared, but her eyes held a flicker of steel. She had faced tough interviews before, but Meghan Markle was a storm brewing in real time. Welcome back, Jennifer said warmly, though her tone carried resolve. We're here with Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, philanthropist, and advocate for equality. Meghan, thank you again for being here. Meghan crossed her legs with precision, her chin tilted high. Of course, she said coolly. It's important people hear the truth, without filters. Jennifer's smile stayed in place. Well, let's start simple. You've been living in California for a while now. How has it felt building a life in the U.S. after your time in the U.K.? It was a safe, open question. But Meghan's face stiffened instantly. Is that your way of implying I wasn't accepted in England? She snapped. A soft wave of gasps swept through the audience, sharp enough to cut the silence. Jennifer blinked, but quickly steadied herself. Not at all. I was asking about the contrast. Many are curious. Meghan leaned in, her voice rising. Because I've heard that before. People making little digs, suggesting I left because I couldn't fit in. The truth is, Jennifer, I chose a better life for my family. That's not failure. That's freedom. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some clapped, others stayed still. The applause was thin. Jennifer's smile tightened at the edges. Fair enough, she said carefully. I think many admire that courage. Polite applause followed, but the tension lingered. Jennifer pressed on. And how's life with Harry? People often wonder how you balance a high-profile marriage with raising your children. Meghan laughed. A quick, cold sound. You mean the gossip? The endless speculation? Honestly, Jennifer, I thought you wouldn't stoop to that. Harry and I are more than fine. We're in love, raising our kids. And unlike the people speculating, we actually know the truth. A murmur rippled through the crowd, whispers spreading like cracks in glass. Jennifer's smile faltered, then steadied. I wasn't asking about gossip, Meghan. I was asking about your experience. That's something only you can share. Meghan folded her arms, leaning back in her chair. Well, my experience is mine. Not everything has to be dissected just because people feel entitled to it. The silence stretched. The audience exchanged uneasy glances. Jennifer drew a slow breath. All right, she said with a nod. Let's move on. Many admire how openly you've spoken about your time in the royal family. What have you learned since stepping away? Meghan's jaw tightened. Her voice dripped with disdain. What I have learned is that titles and institutions mean nothing if they don't serve people. Everyone expects me to be grateful for that family. But the truth? I outgrew them. Their world is outdated. I've moved on. Maybe it's time everyone else did too. A hush fell. This time, no claps, no polite chuckles. Only silence. Jennifer clasped her hands, her poise intact, though her patience strained. Some might say, she began cautiously, that being part of that institution gave you a platform. Do you feel any gratitude for that? Meghan's eyes narrowed, sharp as glass. Gratitude? She scoffed. Gratitude for what? Being silenced? Picked apart daily? Gratitude is just a leash people use to keep women quiet. I built my own platform. I don't owe them a thing, gasps scattered across the audience. Some mouths hung open, others whispered to their neighbors. Jennifer leaned forward, her composure cracking slightly. Her voice was calm, but firmer now. I hear you. But let me say this. When you ask people to believe your story, when you build projects around it, questions will come. That's not an attack, Meghan. That's accountability. The crowd burst into applause, loud, sudden, unplanned. A surge of energy pulsed through the room. Meghan's face hardened. She crossed her arms tightly, her voice icy. Accountability? You want to talk about accountability? How about accountability for the media machine profiting from my pain, or for people pretending to care while chasing views? The audience stirred again. Some clapped, some murmured in disapproval, the tension rising higher. Jennifer's smile vanished. Her voice dropped low, sharp as a blade. With all due respect, Meghan, don't sit here and accuse me of chasing ratings. I built this show to uplift people, to give them a voice. If you can't handle direct questions, maybe interviews aren't for you. The studio erupted. Cheers, whistles, claps, an explosion of noise. Meghan's eyes widened. She let out a bitter laugh. Oh, I see. The applause lines. The gotcha moment. Congratulations, Jennifer. You've just joined the list of people who want to turn me into a headline. Jennifer leaned in, her tone steady, but edged with bite. No one's turning you into a headline, Meghan. You're doing that yourself. Every time someone asks a question, you snap. Every time someone tries to connect, you push them away. That's not strength. It's avoidance. The audience gasped again, whispers racing through the crowd like sparks on dry ground. Meghan's composure cracked. Her hands gripped the armrests, her knuckles white. Avoidance? She hissed. You think defending myself is avoidance? No, Jennifer. What's arrogant is pretending you understand my life when you've never lived it. Jennifer's gaze never wavered. And what's arrogant, she shot back, is believing that marrying into titles makes you untouchable. You're not above being asked questions. None of us are. The words hit like thunder. The room went dead silent. The crowd sat frozen, every eye fixed on Meghan. The audience sat frozen, hanging on every word. Meghan opened her mouth, closed it again, her fury trembling at the surface. Jennifer leaned back, arms crossing over her emerald dress. Her tone was calm, but it carried weight. You wanted a platform, Meghan. This is what it looks like when you're asked to actually use it. The silence that followed was suffocating. Even the faint hum of cameras felt too loud. Meghan shifted in her seat, her poise slipping. Her fingers tapped anxiously on the chair, her jaw tight. Jennifer's voice cut through the stillness. You can't demand sympathy and then push people away when they ask for clarity. You can't have it both ways. The audience broke into applause. Loud, sustained, almost defiant. Meghan blinked rapidly, her eyes glistening. She tried to lift her chin, but her shoulders stiffened under the pressure. The tension was electric. No one moved. No one spoke. They were watching a moment that felt bigger than television. Jennifer leaned in, her words sharp but steady. You know what happens, Meghan. Every time someone gives you space, you turn it into a fight. Every time someone tries to reach you, you shut them out. That's not strength. That's running. A chorus of gasps rippled across the studio. Nervous laughter bubbled briefly, then died instantly. Meghan's voice wavered as she snapped back. You don't know me. You don't know what I've given up. Jennifer's reply was soft, but edged with steel. You're right. I don't know every detail of your life, but I know patterns. And what I see is someone angry. The world won't bend to her every demand. The crowd erupted. Cheers, claps, whistles, a surge of energy bursting through the air. Meghan's shoulders trembled now. Her hands fumbled at the microphone, unclipping it with shaking fingers. This was a mistake, she muttered, her voice low but caught clearly by the mics. The audience gasped as she stood abruptly, clutching her purse like armor. Her tears, once hidden, now glistened in the harsh studio lights. She turned sharply toward the side of the stage. Phones shot up immediately, screens glowing as audience members captured the walkout in real time. Jennifer remained seated, composed, regal in emerald. She didn't chase. She didn't soften. She stayed rooted. She turned to the audience, her voice steady, strong. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, I want to apologize. You came here for an honest conversation. Instead, you saw someone walk away the moment accountability arrived. The studio roared. Applause, whistles, shouts filling every corner of the room. Jennifer raised her voice above the noise. This show isn't about dodging questions. It isn't about carefully polished answers. It's about truth, about connection, about facing reality, even when it's uncomfortable. The cheers swelled louder, shaking the walls. Jennifer turned to the cameras, her gaze piercing. What you just saw wasn't only an interview. It was a reminder that real strength isn't shutting people down. It's standing tall when the questions get hard. The crowd erupted again, many rising to their feet, stomping, cheering. Jennifer let out a measured breath, her tone calm but resolute. This show has always been about giving people space for their truth. That won't change, but truth comes with accountability. Without it, words are just noise. The audience clapped harder, whistles and cheers echoing like a wave. Jennifer sat back, posture flawless, her emerald dress glowing beneath the lights. She hadn't just conducted an interview. She had taken a stand. Behind the cameras, producers exchanged stunned looks. This wasn't what they had expected. It was something much larger, something that would dominate headlines and spark endless debate. Backstage, Meghan had already vanished, her footsteps echoing down the corridor. The image of her storming out in tears was burned into every recording phone in the room. The band began to play, the cameras cut, but the story was already written. Meghan Markle had walked out in tears. Jennifer Hudson had stayed firm. Daytime television had crossed a line it could never uncross. The studio buzzed even after the cameras went dark. Whispers raced through the crowd. Half disbelief, half exhilaration. Some shook their heads. Others scrolled through their phones, already replaying the clip that would soon flood social media. Backstage, Meghan disappeared quickly, her heels striking the floor like gunshots. She kept her head low, but the shimmer of tears was undeniable. The Duchess who had arrived with poise had left in pieces. On stage, Jennifer Hudson remained composed. She sat tall, her emerald dress shimmering, her expression steady. She hadn't flinched. She hadn't folded. She had held her ground, and the audience knew it. Producers huddled behind the cameras, their whispers urgent, their faces pale. This wasn't just another segment. This was a cultural moment, one that would ripple far beyond the studio walls. When the cameras returned from break, the audience erupted, applause so loud it shook the stage. The cheers weren't for Meghan. They were for Jennifer. Jennifer lifted her microphone, her voice calm but commanding. "Sometimes," she said, "guests come here wanting a stage, but not a conversation. Here, we believe in asking real questions, and we believe in listening to the answers, even when they're hard to hear." The crowd roared, rising to their feet. Jennifer's gaze locked with the camera. Her tone sharpened. What you witnessed today wasn't just an interview. It was a reminder that true strength isn't in shutting people down. It's in showing up when the spotlight is at its hottest. The cheers thundered again, rolling through the studio like a wave. Jennifer exhaled softly, her voice steady. This show has always been about honesty, about connection, about the truth that makes us human. And that will never change. The audience clapped louder, whistles piercing the air. The energy transformed from tense silence to electric unity. Jennifer nodded gently, her emerald dress glowing beneath the lights. "Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting us with your time. And thank you for believing in the power of truth." The band swelled, applause still crashing over her words. And just like that, the interview that had begun with polite introductions had ended in chaos. Meghan Markle walked out in tears. Jennifer Hudson stayed unshaken, and daytime television would never look the same again. This wasn't an interview. This was a reckoning. Now the question is yours. Was Jennifer right to confront Meghan head-on, or did it go too far? Tell us in the comments. The debate is only beginning. And if you don't want to miss the next firestorm, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because after today, one thing is clear. This stage will never be the same. The crowd's cheers carried the show into its final moments, but the story was already alive, spreading beyond the studio, unstoppable. Jennifer Hudson had stood her ground. Meghan Markle had walked away, and the world would be talking about it for years.